What's going on, everyone? Justin again. As always, thanks for watching my channel. Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about this automotive loan that they have for most of the domestic platforms. Chevy, Ford, even Chrysler's doing it. It's 0% APR for 84 months. Now, is this the best option for you? That was kind of like my question was like, wow, that's a hell of a bargain, right? They're trying to bring people back into purchasing new cars because of how the economy's been and everyone trying to get through this whole pandemic that's been happening. No one's been buying cars. Obviously, not very many people driving on the roads. So what can they possibly do to bring their automotive sales up? And this was the option that they developed. They developed a 0% down for 84 months, or 0% down with a $1,000 rebate for 72 months, or you can pay whatever your percentage rate is with $4,500 in rebates to go towards the vehicle. I just learned all this from Dave B. Sells Chevy Channel. I was watching it. I was curious because I had heard of this from a fellow friend and subscriber on YouTube that just got done picking up his brand new 2020 Jeep Trailhawk Grand Cherokee. Absolutely loving it. 0% down for 84 months. And it got me to thinking, man, that's a hell of a deal if you think about it, because I did listen to everything that Dave B. Sells Chevy had to say about it. And there's a couple things that I wanted to toss in of my own. 0% down, 84 months, sounds like a wicked deal. You are paying a little bit more for the car for retail, maybe not full MSRP, but you are paying a little bit more. The other one that I thought was probably the better option was having a slightly higher payment for having 72 months at 0% APR with a $1,000 rebate. That probably sounded like the best option for people such as myself and maybe even you that don't have the best credit rating based on your FICO score. Now, know that this might actually only be available to those that qualify for it. I don't know what the actual FICO score limit is for you to qualify for 0% for 84 months or 0% with a $1,000 rebate for 72 months, or if it can be pretty much just anybody. If it's just anybody and you're used to interest rates between 10 and 20% on your vehicle, yes, I know that sounds high. Believe me, I have paid up to 35%, no joke, on a car when I had really, really bad credit but still needed some means of transportation. This has been many, many years now. And slowly but surely I've worked myself down to under 10%, but I have not gotten down to that 3 to 4% yet. So looking at the 0% for 72 months, $1,000 rebate, I'm like, that's a hell of a deal. Especially if they're taking pretty much anyone and everyone with the average or below average credit scores. This could be a hell of an opportunity for those of you that have been trying to get out of your POS or your A to B wreck with different colored quarter panels than always having to do repairs on it. I think this could be a hell of a scapegoat, a hell of a way for you to get out from underneath it. If you can afford the payments on a brand new car, go get that Jeep that you've been wanting, go get that pickup truck that you've been wanting, or that sedan or Ford Mustang, or, you know, family SUV. Maybe you want to go get a Suburban or something like that. I'm going to put Dave B. Sells Chevy's links to both the videos that he did talking about not only the 0% for 84 months, because he goes into in-depth detail how it works out, breaks it down financially for you, shows you how much you'll pay over time, the interest rates, the fees, all the other stuff. Then I'm going to put another video down there where he discusses the better option between paying cash, the 0% for 72 months with the $1,000 rebate, and then of course the third option being leasing. So if you ever decided to lease a vehicle. Now, I've never personally leased a vehicle. My dad has leased pretty much, I would say 75% of all the cars that he's had throughout his entire living has been pretty much leased cars. I think there's some better options there because people that do lease cars are covered. You do get that extra incentive, so if you stick with that platform and you trade in for it, they'll give you a better deal going into the next lease. So I can see why he would want to lease a vehicle. My mentality going into buying any new vehicle or used vehicle has always been either an immediate need where I didn't have a choice and I had to just take whatever I can get, pay whatever the APR is, and hope I can fix my credit enough to get into the next best thing. Or if I had some kind of an angle towards it. So like the last two vehicles that we picked up, okay? My dream/work truck was the 2013 GMC Sierra. Okay, and that was like my truck. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have this truck. I'm gonna use it for roofing. I've already got this plan. I'm gonna do dump hauls, things like that. Maybe I'll even use it for other things like recycling and whatnot, and try to get some scrap metal stuff done when I was doing all that stuff. So there was a method behind my madness, but I've always wanted a truck. Trucks do come in handy, and I've said it before, you can always make money with a truck. Going into the 2019 Volkswagen Tiguan that we bought, I kind of wish that I might have waited a little bit until this deal popped up, but who can actually tell the future, right? I didn't know we were going to have a pandemic, and I certainly didn't know that they were actually going to make a deal like this where you could pay 0% APR for 72 months or 84 months. Had I actually known that, we might have held off for this just to see if we couldn't possibly qualify for the 72-month platform, because I think that would have been a better deal overall versus paying just under 10% that we are for our current Tiguan. But we got the SUV because we needed third row seating. We got a bunch of kids. It's very economical as far as fuel consumption is concerned. My wife has to travel an extended period of mileage and time to get to and from work, so it saves her a lot in gas. Before, she was taking the pickup truck and it was just eating away at her check. Now she doesn't have to. And then of course I have the Princess wagon, which I am thinking about selling and then taking that money and maybe applying it towards, you know, paying off one of my motorcycles or something like that. So there's a plan. There's always a plan. I'm always hustling in and out of vehicles. But it really got me to thinking, like, is this for real? Is this really going on? And after talking to a fellow, like I said, friend and subscriber, and him telling me that it's real and that he got one, I was like, okay. And one of the biggest questions I didn't ask him, though, was like, hey, what's your FICO score? You know, I didn't want to get in too personal into his business, but I'd be curious to know how many of you are either thinking about possibly going down and jumping on this 0%, and how many of you have already done so. And if you did, could you tell me if you were below average or average when it came to your credit score? You don't have to actually share the number if you don't want to, but I'd be curious to know who they're qualifying for the 0% option. Like I said, I think it's a really good option so long as they're allowing people that don't have the best credit rating to also qualify for it. I just think that that's cool. That's cool that they're doing that. One of the other things that had happened a while back, and I think we might have made mention of it, and I'm not sure if they're going to actually do it again, but a while back Chrysler did this thing where they were doing an unlimited powertrain warranty. For the life that you owned that specific product, whether it was a truck, an SUV, or a car, they were offering unlimited powertrain. And when I worked at Chrysler, I had to replace, I would say, a half a dozen to a dozen engines and transmissions over the course of the 3 years that I was there, covered underneath that unlimited warranty that they had gotten because they still kept that same truck and SUV. No, it did not. It does not carry over if you decide to buy it from them, unfortunately. But if you are, in fact, the original owner of that vehicle and you had paid for it all the way through and still kept it, you actually basically could get a free transmission and engine for the life of the vehicle. And I thought that was a really cool program. They did get rid of it because obviously it's going to cost the dealership a lot of money. I don't think they thought that far ahead. And in fact, I'm not too entirely sure how many years they did that for. But I know that dealerships, especially when they get down to these crunch times where they're hurting pretty bad for customers to come in, they always got some real cool or real incentive to try to bring you in to actually buy the brand new car, right? To get into that new car that you always wanted or what have you. And I think because of this whole pandemic, and like I said, with the automotive industry pretty much taking a landslide, I don't really think they had too many options, to be honest. Another thing that I'm not too entirely sure, and let's get away from vehicles real quick and just basically touch base on this just real briefly. The airline industry, I don't know how long it's going to take for it to come back up. I don't know how many people are going to be willing to fly, especially after a couple of things have happened, not only with the whole pandemic and them having difficulties trying to make sure that they create space in between passengers, but then Boeing having their 737 MAX or VMAX or whatever it is plane crash. I think two of them crashed, and it really caused a lot of problems, and they had to ground a lot of the planes that they had built. So I don't know what it's looking like for the airline industry or what kind of incentives they're going to offer for plane tickets. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I know they were offering incentives for people wanting to fly during the pandemic, but I think that's been kind of diluted a little bit and kind of shortened up to accommodate the 6-foot rule, if you will. So we'll see, right? We'll see. This whole thing is going to definitely change the way that we live, the way that we look at society in general, the way that we function and perform. I'm just hoping that we can get the sports team stuff back on track. I'm a little bit upset that they did this to the point where there's like no T-ball. They've closed the schools. There was no baseball. I don't think there's going to be basketball. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for football, man. I've got 4 teams that I'm rooting for here, you know. I know Drew Brees is getting down to the last little bit of his career. I'm really hoping he can pull through and at least get his last run with the Super Bowl. I know Tom Brady just got down going to the Buccaneers. I'm rooting for him to get ring number 7 and show that he does have what it takes. Gronk's coming back. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. I know that the Chiefs are going to be strong, and I'm excited to see what happens with the Eagles. So I'm following, man. I'm following. So that's all I got for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed today's content, and we'll see you for Cool Tool Tuesday. Maybe Jeff's got something cool for us. See you guys next time. Cheers and deuces.